I think it has been amazing, just to sit at the tables and see God changing us, changing you guys, changing me. I think about some of these guys. Jason, they surrendered for the first time, lay it all down for the first time. For some of you guys, it's been been letting Jesus out of the backpack. It's been saying, where in my life is Jesus not present? Where am I kind of keeping him shut up and moving towards letting him out in those places? For some, it's been serving. You guys have been jumping in around the building here and finding out, I think, that when we serve, when we give to God, that really He's giving more back to us through it. For some of you guys, it's the finances. It's saying, look, I don't know how the books are going to balance at the end of the month, but I'm going to give God what He deserves, what He wants. And you've been seeing Him be faithful in that. For some of you guys, it's been bringing junk out into light, whether that's porn, whether that's selfishness, anger, whatever it is, bringing it out into the light, letting it go, and letting God have that part of your life. And some of you guys, it's even been rumored that some of you are giving up football and letting Jesus into your recreation. That's actually me, a football addict. But letting Jesus recharge you, letting Him into that part of your life, letting all these things. And at these tables, we're being real. We're talking about it. We're getting excited because Jesus is just showing up, and He's saying, here's a place where I want you to take a jump, to move in, and let me be in control. But let's be honest, we're human, and at some point there's going to be a realization. We're going to recognize that we've taken a step back, that these places where we've jumped all in, we've pulled back, and then a choice comes at that moment. And the choice is to look at what it is that God has done in your life. Look at the serving, look at the tithing, look at the marriages, the children, the way that you've related to your children in a different way that brings God into it. The way that He's taken care of you, that He's changed your view of Him. And the question there is, when you step back, are you going to stay back? Or there are other places where, as we go on this journey, there are places where God is going to say, look, there's still this little part here where you're holding back. I want you to jump in there. And what do we do with that? We've seen when we jump in, when we go all in, we've seen what God can do with it. We've seen how God transforms us. We've seen how God transformed the guys at our tables. And so the question is, are we going to hold back? And maybe are we going to miss that? Or are we going to jump into it? So I want to tell you guys about my last week, which has been full of it's dealing with those two choices, and kind of about the same issue. A couple of months ago, my wife and I sat down with her parents and told her parents about the abuse that she suffered from her grandfather, sexual abuse, when she was a child, and it was her dad's dad. And their reaction to that was that they just couldn't deal with it. They're not Christ followers, and so they've just kind of shut it out. They shut down. They don't want to talk about it. 2 weeks ago, Jay, my father-in-law, was going up to see his parents, and so I was trying to reach out to him. I wanted to say, look, where are you at with this? What's going on with you? And when I did that, he reacted really bad. He basically said, look, I don't ever want to talk about this. If you ever bring it up again, I'm just going to shut you guys out of my life. I'm not going to talk to you again. And my reaction to that was that I was like, screw him. If that's the way that he is, he's dead to me. I don't want anything to do with him. I mean, really, what kind of a guy would say that to his own daughter? Because of something that was done to you when you were a little kid, if you ever want to talk about it, I'm going to shut you out. And so I found myself walking and just taking a walk, dealing with all this junk in my head of bitterness and anger. And I realized I was at that moment of a choice. This is a place where I could either hold on to that, or I could let it go, confess it, surrender it, and go all in, let God have that. And so I made that choice. I said, okay, God, this is something you're going to have to do, but I want to let go of this. I don't want this to define me. And so I talked to one of my big brothers about it, and prayed, and I let God have it. I said, it's more important that Jill's parents become Christ followers and that you can use me there than me being angry and holding on to what I have a right to. And then this weekend, it became more than just thinking about it, and it became real, and I took a step back. Jill and I were talking about going on vacation at her parents' timeshare. They had an extra week and that they might not be able to use, and so we were going to be able to go there. But the flip side to it was they might show up and join us for the week, and it would be at the last minute. And all of a sudden, I felt all these anger and bitterness just kind of rush back in, and I was like, look, I really don't want to go. If I've got to spend a whole week with them, what do I say to people like that? That are willing to cut their daughter off over something that was done to her. So it was a step back, and Jill and I were sitting on the deck, and I was kind of making excuses, saying, I don't want to go with them because I want to spend the vacation with you and not with them, and she just said, whoa, that's not it. What's the real issue? And I looked at it, and I was like, whoa, how did I get from the point where I was saying, okay, God, you want to use me? It's more important for them to become Christ followers, to the point of, I don't even want a chance even possibly spending a week with them and having to deal with them. How do I get to that point? And I had a choice to make again. And God is good, and we prayed about it, I confessed it, and I'm still working through it, because I know it's going to be a struggle, but I've made that choice again, that even though in that concrete thing, that I'm going to say, yes, it's more important what you want to use me to than to hold on to these feelings of anger and hurt. And so I think that's what I want to put out there, is that at some point we're going to mess up. At some point we're going to find ourselves in a situation where we're serving, and it becomes more about us than the people we're serving. Where at the end of the month or at the beginning of the month, it's like, man, the bills are coming in, and am I really going to write that check this month? And I'm not going to. And